happening?
It's happening.
All right.
Folks, Chris Waters here, live on GameSpot stage with Eric Osborne, head of community at Bungie. We're about to talk Destiny, so if you want to send any questions my way, I will ask Eric. Just send them to @CTWaters on Twitter, CTWATTRS. Eric, welcome to the stage.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. Destiny, you guys have been, you guys are got some stuff brewing. You guys are showing up at press conferences, launching entire bundles.
Yeah, we got our alpha live, so the game stood up. You can play through a huge swath of content. So you can create a character, choose a class, play a story chapter, go out and explore the world, find some stuff out there, find treasure, find loot, find some friends.
So you're telling me
competitive multiplayer. We got a strike up and live. It's all going live Thursday. Out in the booth, we've got our Crucible competitive multiplayer for hands-on.
A lot of times when people are describing alphas, I feel like they would have lasted like a third of as long as you were just describing all the stuff I could do in that alpha.
Yeah, we felt it was super important to get a big chunk of the game out, and really we're ramping up to our beta. Our beta's gotten so big that we wanted to make sure it was going to stand up to all the players who are going to hit it, and we wanted to make sure that people could really experience it. We could test out a lot of the new systems that we're building, and of course that pushes us to launch on September 9th, so it's really critical that we get a lot of data, both on the back-end services and what players are doing in the world and the decisions that we've made.
Yeah, you guys are pretty much going full speed into from now.
It's going to be pretty breakneck,
until
but
the release.
That's the way to do it. Right?
Absolutely. All right, so the alpha. Folks can get into this. They want to know how. Let's just tell them how right now.
Yeah, so you can go to greatnessawaits.com/destiny.
Okay.
You can register, and you'll get an email back, assuming you are chosen. It'll be limited. We're not saying how many people are in the just right now. We want to make sure we can scale up appropriately and ramp.
Sure.
But assuming things go well, we're expecting a pretty large number of players to hit that.
Great.
And, of course, that's going to lead to our beta, which will expand out from PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox One, and Xbox 360 all together.
And that beta's coming in
July 17th.
In July.
Yep.
You guys are really on it. Your schedule is crazy.
It's the way to do it. So here rocket and let it go.
So here we are in a competitive multiplayer match.
Yeah.
This mode, the basic premise is just control the points.
Yeah, like Devil's Third, the object is to take the fruit into the blender.
Yeah.
So if you didn't see the last segment, that's not going to make sense, right?
No,
this
definitely
is control. This is 6v6. You bring your Guardian into the mode. We're watching First Light on the Moon. You definitely want to control the control points, the control zones, because they'll give you modifiers to your points. So kill death is obviously really important.
Yep.
But if you've got all three zones locked down, you're going to get a plus 200 bonus to your kills. So it's really important to make sure you're monitoring the map, keeping your head on a swivel, taking territories back from players. As you can see here, vehicular combat,
staying
which
frosty.
we love, staple for our team. We've got pikes going, interceptors going. You can actually conjure your personal vehicle if you want to take it for a spin on this this match. Every character in here is rocking their own loadout. These are the weapons they've chosen. You can change them on the fly in the middle of the match if you want.
I learned this when I got to play a match of this last week, that not all loadouts are created equal.
Yeah, of course not. Like we definitely want players to invest in their character and find the builds that work for them. So on this map, I might go with a sniper rifle because there's a little more sight lines, and an assault rifle to sort of back myself up when I get into close quarters. But it's really about owning territories, map knowledge, winning one-on-one fights, and communicating and playing as a team. It's a real throwback kind of thing we wanted to do with competitive multiplayer. We want wins and losses to matter to people. We want it to feel like when you win, it feels great. When you lose, you want to switch up your tactics, find out what went wrong, maybe go back into the world and get a new assault rifle and see if that might help you out.
So that's the question. With so much investment in player customization and, finding that loot, upgrading your kit, how do you guys keep the balance in competitive multiplayer when people of differing levels can bring loadouts of differing levels to bear?
Yeah, so what we're doing is taking away the power advantage that level brings when you have higher level players, right, in competitive multiplayer. So the level advantage you would normally have over AI goes away.
Okay.
So if somebody's a level 15, they're not going to destroy you because you're a level 5. It's going to be about your skill. Things are a little bit accelerated in our alpha, so it's a little bit different than the final experience. And, of course, we're tweaking and making sure it's going to feel good. But also behind the scenes, the things that aren't necessarily working for alpha because of the low population is our skill-based matchmaking, all the things behind the scenes that we're actually testing and getting up to speed. We'll use the alpha to perfect as we go into launch.
But if I go in there with my shotgun that's like, I picked it up in a bargain bin, and someone has been like, playing for hours and hours, and their shotgun like glimmers with gold and looks super sexy. Like they're not going to far outclass me.
There are guys that go in with their tidy whities and the first rifle you get in the game just to humiliate you with how good they are. So we absolutely want to make a skill-based environment where you've got opportunities to tweak your build, customize your assault rifle, fall in love with a hand cannon, take that into multiplayer, and really like make that your tactic. But yeah, if you're really good, like I watched Ninja roll through the alpha this morning. He ran into a clan that's been playing for about a week, and he steamrolled them. You know, so skill is important. It matters.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's got to be paramount for that kind of equalization that the foundation of this, at least this style of competitive multiplayer, is based on. So I like, you guys are. With Destiny, competitive multiplayer, when you're out in the world, pursuing the sort of campaign or other mission objectives, you're all feeding back to the same place. You want it. It's all interconnected.
Yep. Yeah, it's really important that we have a persistence of character in a living world that's populated with players, right? So when you go out on a campaign mission, you'll see other people. You don't necessarily have to join up. You can blow right past them, but we really feel like when people see a public event or they walk into the rocket yard and the sun goes down and they see the Hive in the fall and just throw out their armies together and just have this epic clash, that they're going to want to participate in that stuff.
I thought you were going to say dance party.
Dance parties are good too, so it's really funny to go back to the tower. And we had a community event last night. We were giving people hands-on before we opened up on the show floor, and it's funny how many people just like to spend time in the tower and talk to their friends and kick around a soccer ball,
That was actually what we were doing the other day in the GameSpot office, kicking around a soccer ball.
Yeah,
and then the guy we were kicking it with jumped off the cliff by accident.
Yeah. We had a team that made up a game mode called King of the Thing, and they were doing like the Halo announcer where they'd go at the end of that little parapet and they'd try to push each other off and call, King of the Thing, new thing moved. It's pretty funny. So making your own fun, I think, is pretty important to the world of Destiny. If you want serious business campaign or if you want super competitive Crucible, you can have that. But if you just want to go out, check out a vista, go exploring, maybe relax a little bit, we've got that too.
And Sam Wood on Twitter is wondering, in Crucible, that competitive multiplayer, are you guys just doing 6v6 modes, or are you scaling up at all?
So this isn't the only mode we're showcasing. We're not talking about anything outside of Control. 6v6 is our sweet spot. We want to make sure every player is important. We want to build arena-style maps that require knowledge, teamwork, communication, all that fun stuff. But this is not the end-all, be-all mode. This is just one mode,
of course.
2 maps that we're building. You can see here, this is Rusted Lands, which there aren't vehicles here or turrets like the other map. This is all about cat and mouse infantry play, choosing smart routes, taking territories when they're available, when you have the opportunity, getting the high ground and the good sight lines with the right weapons.
Absolutely, those strategies that are so important have been important to similar competitive modes since time immemorial, and continue to be so vital. Now, some questions coming in from Twitter. Killjoy wondering about the ranking up system, and sort of your level and competitive multiplayer outside the Crucible. Outside the Crucible, is the rank sort of a persistent monolithic number that's associated with your character?
You do have a level for your character, and you also have defense on your gear and weapon proficiency. All the weapons actually gear up as well, and so you'll have skill trees you can unlock. They have different levels of rarity. We're actually only showing off to level 8 in the build, but the cap goes way higher than that. This is just just scratching the surface in terms of weapons. When you're playing the Crucible, you're actually earning experience towards all of that, all of your gear, your weapons, your abilities. You can tweak your movement modes, your super abilities, your grenades, your melee type, all of that. But you're also earning Crucible reputation that you can spend at a Crucible vendor. So you actually are going through a reputation system inside of the Crucible. You've got factions watching you for competence, which also have impact out in the world, but they'll give you better gear for performing better here. So you'll see guys, when you start seeing the Endgame content in the final game, you'll start seeing people with some really crazy-looking stuff, and you'll know, oh, you got that inside of the Crucible.
And the Crucible, and that's an interesting way to handle it. It's not rank, it's Crucible. It's a currency that you come out with.
It's a currency in the world and a reputation system, yeah. We really want people to look at another player and know, I know why you have that special shotgun. It's because you're really good at the Crucible. Or I know why you have that epic helmet with the horns that are glowing. It's because you went and you beat the raid, right? And those stories are really important for us.
And that sort of ties back into the thing that I think you guys have been talking a lot about when it comes to Bungie, is that character customization and the look, the look of your hood, of your jacket, of your gauntlets, and of your weapons, and that, tying that into the sense of progress. It's not a number, but like, it's your fashion sense.
Yeah. I mean, we saw a bunch of people, even our friends and family, where you'd come down, you touch down in the tower, and they're just there slow walking in their awesome gear, just to show off. It's kind of a funny little strut, like a peacock moment.
You guys gonna build in a catwalk into the
There's a nice
traveler?
little like Vanguard section where you go down and you find your class mentor, but there's a nice stairs coming up, and it's like in full view as they come up. It's pretty cool. So yeah, it's really important for us to have I mean, we say become legend as the marketing statement, right? And that's really what it's all about, is like I want to be able to look at another player and know what they've been through or what kind of player they are. If I see them out in the world and they've got gear that I haven't seen before, maybe I ask them where they got it, or if I recognize the gear and I know, oh, you're telling me that you like strikes, so let's go take one on.
Let's go. Yeah, you might be a good guy to have along during my strike mission.
Yep.
All right. Well, the competitive multiplayer, it's almost interesting to sort of see it in that very sort of basic foundational state, right? You know, that's a very sort of core mode, the one we just saw, control, because so much of Destiny is scale, we're blowing this out. You're going to be on planets and planets, and you're going to explore these vast regions. And so, the mind starts to wonder about, the stuff you're not talking about in terms of competitive modes and what scale they might take and what form they might take.
I can confirm we do have other modes, and I can confirm maybe we're having a little bit more fun than just control. We like control. We want to make sure that there's a mode for that arena-style play, really quick combat, get people in there and put their skills to the test. But there's a lot more we're not talking about, especially as you get into the end game of Destiny.
Well, I have a question about sort of Destiny gameplay, right? So people get into a control match, they know what they're in for, and if they don't, they quickly learn, because it's kind of the that language of shooters and that sort of, you can trace it, that pedigree throughout that common experience.
Yep.
My question is for the missions you're running on Earth, the stuff that's a little bit more MMO tinged than maybe your normal first-person shooter campaign, in which a player is used to, I show up in a place, I clear all the enemies, and the enemies are gone.
Right.
But, you guys have these places that people are, like, enemies are dropping in regularly, and their level increases, and sort of how do you, game design-wise, teach and encourage the player to adopt a different mentality to just I'm going to scrub this place clean and move on to the next place.
Yeah, I mean, one of the ways we can do that is with our director. So when you're picking activities, you're sort of making a choice of what you want to do in the world. When you go in there for the first time, you'll get a little bit of narrative, you'll get a little bit of UI to sort of set you in the place and let you know what to expect. We also want players to discover. I think it's really important for people to go, what's that thing that's beaconing over there and making that noise, and to find out it's a treasure chest or it's a mission from a faction, or what if I jump off the cliff? Maybe there's a cave on the underside where there's a hive ogre. Like, we want people to go out there and try to figure out what's out there waiting for them. What does this dead ghost do when I awaken it? Or what are these grimoire points that I'm getting? We want to encourage people to go around and find out what's out there. And when they want to have a directed experience that they're, I'm feeling competitive, you go into the Crucible. Or when I want to just relax and shoot some enemies, maybe I go take on a strike with my friends or with some match-made people. Or if I want a really hard strike, I can ratchet up the difficulty and make that feel really intense and challenging. So when we say activities for every move, what we're really saying is, like, there's a lot of stuff out there and a lot of ways to play. And even in one night, my path through the world is typically like land and explore the world, go get some materials, start to gear up my weapons, wait for my friends to touch down, go to the tower, meet them there, and then figure out, like, okay, what do we want to do? Do we want to go take on a strike? All right, let's go do that. And we sort of wind our way through the world, and sort of like carve our own little organic path through the night. And it feels really cool. And it's felt that way even when we had a Friends and Family, which is a very limited number of activities. I think it's really important for people to play Alpha and understand, like, oh, like in the center of all this stuff is my persistent character inside of this world with all these things I can do. And I think that's when things start to really click. So you break it out by modes, it doesn't really sell the whole big picture.
You want to sort of sell them on the organic situation. You get in there and sort of just find your way.
Yeah, E3 is really fun for us because we've got it all stood up, and it's just really exciting to see people play it and get feedback and finally let people off the chain. People are on NeoGAF and Reddit with their own videos and Twitch streams and screenshots. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Just going to take a quick few questions via Twitter, if you don't mind. First one, and I'm sure that you can speak authoritatively on this, from Jason. Will I be able to meet my future fiance in Destiny?
That sounds like a proposal.
Yeah, I'll be
on Venus.
Just keep out. Yeah, Sir Villicus is who you're looking for.
Right?
There you go. So we got a little bit of confusion on terminology from Nate Bumpus.
Yeah.
Has heard sort of Titan, Hunter, and Warlock.
Yep.
But where does the word Vanguard fit into that?
So Vanguard are the mentors in the city. They're sort of the champions of the city. You'll find them in the Hall of Guardians. So each class can go there to get new gear, new weapons, and new badges. And they'll give you missions out in the wild, they're sort of monitoring all the Guardian activity back at the tower.
Okay, so they're sort of leader in that within that given class.
Absolutely.
The 3 classes
and
being
if you do well,
Titan, Hunter, Warlock.
They'll give you rewards. You can go spend them at special vendors. You can earn special tokens from them. There's a whole bunch of currency and reputation systems that we want to build in. They give people like bounties or reasons to go back out in the world again and find something new or discover something maybe they didn't know existed before, or maybe take on a mode tweaked or more challenging than they played it before.
Mm-hmm. Now, when players go out into the world, they've got their little companion, Peter Dinklage, the floating ghost, and that's sort of your way of it's an information source for learning about the lore in the world.
It's sort of your Jiminy Cricket, right? It's sort of your companion that's always there with you to guide you through the world. As a character, he's sort of learning alongside you and discovering alongside you, but he's there to keep you alive, to keep you safe, to give you a heads up.
Because we kind of heard his voice in the trailer you guys were showing at the beginning of the press conference, the Sony press conference, and seems like the ghost has knowledge, has knowledge of the world that you as a player coming in don't have. So to a certain extent, he's a teacher, but then
he's definitely there as a guide. He's there to keep you alive. He's there to illuminate the darkness, like literally as a flashlight, help crack golden
that's not
systems.
a metaphor.
It's not a
metaphor. Turns on, those buildings get dark.
But he doesn't have a lot of practical experience out in the wild, right? So he needs a guardian to get him out there and keep him alive. So you guys are sort of paired together as he's keeping you alive, so you're keeping him alive as well. And in the trailer, that definitely was Peter Dinklage. We also had Bill Nye doing the read from the speaker at the very beginning. We're really excited about our voice cast. We've got a bunch more announcements to make on that front. If you're playing the alpha, you're going to recognize some voices, but we're not confirming them for a little while. But we're having a lot of fun, and we're working with a lot of talented people.
There's the dance party I was hoping for. Someone just busted a move while capturing.
Why teabag when you can do the robot?
I like that. Give us better alternatives.
That's right.
Than teabag. We deserve better.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than losing a game and a guy sits down on your corpse just quietly, just like contemplatively.
Just cross-legged. Just like gets real cozy and comfortable. It's not an athletic exercise.
Like no sweat off his back.
I can imagine more than a few arguments have busted out in the Bungie offices over sitting etiquette.
Sitting etiquette. Yeah, I mean, dancing is one of the things that we're having a lot of fun with. It's something that some people love, some people hate, but we wanted to give players ways to express themselves without a microphone. Obviously, having a microphone is the ideal state in competitive multiplayer out in the world. Yeah. But we know a lot of players, as they're going through their own campaign, don't want to have people spamming their microphone. And so if they're away, they can sit down, or if they do want to have an encounter, they can wave at somebody. So we want to give them ways to have that very
Does that stuff tie into the actual muting or not muting? Like, if I enter a put my hands over my ears state, do I not hear people?
So we only open up fire team for you, chat for you in your fire team. So if you go into the tower, you're not inundated with everybody else's chat. It's an opt-in, optional experience. So
that's helpful.
And we're giving you audio options and all that stuff, so you can tweak it to your liking when you get into the menus.
White Crow on Twitter says merely, and I'm not sure if this is a haiku or not. Split screen, ask about split screen. It's not quite enough syllables, but.
So we're actually not supporting split screen in Destiny. So one of the things that we wanted to do from the very beginning, we love split screen. Obviously, we have a legacy of supporting it. We know a lot of players love it. We love it. But we really wanted to untether Guardian. So when you're out in the world exploring, you're never going to warp towards another player. Mm-hmm. You can, even if you're in a fire team, you can go wherever you want. That level of freedom was really important for us. We also wanted to make sure there weren't any, guests in the world. We want that character to be really important to you and really persistent. So you're building your character, kitting up with all your gear, earning your weapons, earning your reputation. And we didn't want people to sort of come in and then come out without any sort of exposure to that stuff. So it fits into the pillars. We know that some players really like split screen, but
they sure do.
Yeah.
But you can't have everything in one game, although you guys are kind of trying to put really a lot in here.
Yeah, we're trying to build a really big game with a lot of stuff, and we're really trying to build a game that we love. But ultimately, you can't build a game to suit every single player out there, right? You can't build a game that's like, why isn't there car racing? Or, you got to be kind of focused. The good news for us is, with a new IP, you get an opportunity to set a foundation in place, and you get to see what players do. You get to see what the community loves about it. And so then you can start in the future thinking about, how do we, that was really cool. Look what Rooster Teeth was doing with Halo, and go, what if we built something to make that easy on them and, enable that for players? So you get to be reactive. And the reality is we have no idea what people are going to do and what they're going to fall in love with in this world. We have some ideas. We think they're going to love the cooperative stuff.
Sure.
We think they're going to love the competitive stuff. We think people are going to be really surprised by the public events and the ambient encounters we build in the world and the the scope, but ultimately we're going to be watching, with bated breath when this alpha and beta goes live and at launch to see like what are people doing? What do they love? Do they just want to sit around the tower and kick around a soccer ball? Do we need to make like mini games there? Is that what they want?
Maybe they do. Maybe they need to unwind on a virtual holodeck of to play it. Manchester United footy game with Warlocks. Before we sort of reinforce once again the alpha and beta info and wrap the demo up, just give me an anecdote from your play experience. I mean, you guys have been play testing this for a long time now. You've been running through a lot of stuff. What's one of the moments that to you is sort of one of those things that just it makes Destiny unique, that makes it like all right, this is what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, for me, it's really two anecdotes in one, but it's the exact same experience. So the first time I ever, we were playing at our desk, and you have this half-assembled experience that you can take slices of and play around. But the first time I was in a public event and I hear shots ring out and see enemies in front of me die and turn back and saw my coworker Andreas Jenkins there reloading, and I was like, all right, this is cool.
Oh,
right?
hey, buddy.
I didn't bring him in. He landed in his ship, and we're going to go off on an adventure together. That was awesome. And I saw that in a playtest lab go down in real time. Our playtest labs are amazing. We can watch people play. We can see what they're doing with their hands. We can do eye tracking, bring them all in. But I watched two guys play together, and one guy had that exact same experience, and literally in the room start looking around for like, who is that? Like who am I playing? And they had made a little eye connection. They had that little love connection we were talking about earlier, or maybe they got married. I don't know, but you just saw that human connection of like, that's not AI, that's not a programmed NPC, that's another Guardian, and I didn't expect that. It's so cool.
Very cool. Well, folks are going to be able to maybe have moments of their own. Come Thursday, we're
going to open this up. You can go to greatnessawaits.com/Destiny. Of course, the beta you can get in by pre-ordering, and that's on 4 platforms: PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox One, and Xbox 360. That's going to start on July 17th, and of course, all this leads up to our launch on September 9th.
And so greatnessawaits.com/Destiny, that's the alpha.
That's the registration for the alpha if you want to try to reserve
Does
a
it
spot.
work for the beta as well? Or
no, the beta is pre-order.
Is the pre-order?
Yeah, so if you can go to destinythegame.com/where-to-buy.
Okay.
Got all the URLs.
Yeah, you do. And what about this Glacier White bundle extravaganza that I know some people,
want it.
right?
It looks awesome. Yeah,
enough of these black monoliths underneath my entertainment center.
I love that you're doing all the selling for me. Yeah, the Glacier White PS4 was something that they put, Sony put together and presented to us, and we're like, this is awesome. This is so cool. So
very cool. Well, excited to see Bungie's release date approaching fairly rapidly.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are freaking out a little bit about
towards us like a meteor.
But you folks at home have all the details on how to get into the game early. September 9th is when it's coming out. Eric, thank you so much for coming on stage.
Thanks for having me.
Talking Destiny, much